Hello. So, my name is Eketi Edima Ete, and today I am going to be reading from my book, Chinda Ella, written by, again, Eketi Edima Ete. Okay, so before I read, let me just share the inspiration for this book. So I'm a lover of fairy tale stories, right? Grew up reading them, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And so one day I was watching a remake of Cinderella. I think Cinderella has had up to 10 different remakes by now. So I was watching the most current one at the time, which was this one, there's this blonde girl, and I was watching it, and it was time for Cinderella to leave the ball, and I realized that her godmother had told her that at the stroke of 12, everything, the carriage, which was made from pumpkin, her clothes, her shoes, everything was going to change back to what it was before. And yet I realized that in all the remakes, and in the book as well, that when this clock struck 12, Cinderella's shoes did not change. Everything else changed back to what they were. Her ball gown went back to being rags. Her carriage went back to being a pumpkin, but her shoes did not change. And I just had this random thought that there is a scam here. Why didn't her shoes change? And I just had this ridiculous idea not ridiculous idea, but I had this idea to write a story about why the shoes didn't change. The first thought that came to my mind was write a story about why Cinderella's shoes didn't change. And I thought, this was African juju. That is why it didn't change. And the moment I thought that, the idea came again, write this story in from the Nigerian perspective. Cinderella is going to be from Nigeria. And don't write it in proper English. Just write it in this nonsensical, ridiculous way, filled with all sorts of slangs and Nigerianisms. And voila, the idea was born. And this book is a result of that idea. So, without further ado, I'm just going to read chapter 2. You can start with chapter 1. So instead of, her being Cinderella, she's called Chinda Ella. So I'm just going to read chapter 2. This is when the magic has already happened and Cinderella is off to the ball. But here she's called Chinda Ella. So Chinda Ella is already off to the ball. So I'm going to start reading.